What's up everyone? How's it going today? Justin here with another video. Now for this one, I want to talk about everyone's favorite topic when it comes to videos about Japan. And that is what it's like dating. More specifically, I want to talk about my experiences dating a hostess. Because let me just say, it is very different from dating what I guess you would consider a normal girl. But before that, or I guess to prep for that, as is tradition, when talking about a bad breakup, the best way to do it is while drinking. So I still have some Nihon Shoe left over from my previous video where I tried a bunch of Nihon Shoe. And this is the good one. Good. So I'm going to drink while talking about my experiences dating a hostess. And if that sounds good to you, then go ahead and like this video and let's get started. I still hate Nihon Shoe though. Oh god. Maybe I should just stick to coffee for this one. Alright, so actually I'm just going to stick to coffee. But anyway, to start, I figured I should first talk about what a hostess bar even is for people who might not be familiar with it. So the short version is, a hostess bar is basically a place where men can go to drink and they pay a premium to drink with women there. And usually the women are young, attractive, and since the men are paying a premium, the women are essentially paid to act interested in the guy. And a typical hostess bar, or kyabakura in Japanese, can cost anywhere from a couple $100s for a few hours, all the way up to a couple thousand for a few hours. And if you have that kind of money to blow, I'm just saying that I'm accepting donations through Venmo currently. Just putting it out there. Okay, in all seriousness, if you watched my previous video about what I spend in a week, you know that I absolutely hate wasting money. And so these kind of bars never really appeal to me because they're just way too expensive, for one. And number two, since you're basically paying the woman to act interested in you, you don't know if there's an actual connection there. You know what I mean? That said, there are also bars called host bars, which are essentially the opposite, where women can go there and are basically catered to by men. Now you're probably wondering how I even met this girl, since I don't like going to hostess bars, so I figured I should start there, because that will also kind of feed into some general advice that I have about dating hostesses, if you still want to by the end of this video. Not trying to convince you not to date a hostess, but there's definitely some stuff you should be ready for. I met this girl one night while I was out drinking with a few of my friends. We all went to this bar that we often go to, and she was there just drinking by herself after a honest night's work of being a hostess. And I struck up a conversation with her. We hit it off, saw each other a few more times, then we started, I guess, officially dating. And that lasted for, 5 months before things started to go kind of sour, and then eventually we just kind of went our separate ways. Alright, moving on. Next, I actually want to talk about, first, the weird points of dating a girl who works at a hostess bar. And after that, I want to talk about, I guess, some of the pluses of dating a girl who works at a hostess bar. So the first weird point, and will kind of lead into the next couple of weird points actually, is that you can't really go out to dinner on Friday or Saturday night. Because as you can imagine, that's when she's the busiest, because that's when people usually go out drinking, so guys are going to then go to a hostess bar while they're out drinking, and that can make it difficult to actually see her on a Friday or Saturday night. Because if she is like my former hostess girlfriend, my ex-hostess girlfriend, then she'll also be doing dohan, which basically just means going out to eat with her customers, her clients, and then essentially taking those guys to the hostess bar because she gets paid more for actually doing that. So those two things, her basically having to work from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. as well as eating dinner with the guys to get paid more, basically means it's really difficult to have dinner with her on Friday or Saturday nights unless, she takes the day off. Of course, there's other nights you can go out to dinner, but, Friday and Saturdays are just I guess, convenient because usually you have work off, because usually you're off work the next day. I mentioned earlier that she doesn't get off work until 1 a.m., which then also creates another problem. If you want to go out drinking, then you can't actually meet up for drinks until really late. So the fourth weird point that's specifically due to the whole Dohan situation, if she's doing that, is you kind of have to get used to the idea of her eating dinner with other guys and hanging out with other guys all the time because it's essentially what she's getting paid to do, which I know could get on some people's nerves, especially if you're a jealous type. All right, moving on to the last weird point, based on my experience at least, is that often she'll be on her phone, and there's actually a really good reason for this, and that is that she would trade lines with her clients, and this way she can invite them back to her bar to, of course, make more money, as is important in this job. But that would create a really tough situation for her, which I don't envy at all, actually, where she would get like hundreds of texts a day, and she felt the need to respond to all of them because she was trying to make as much money as possible, because at the time it was her main source of income. And if you're just responding to hundreds of texts a day, it's hard to relax or have fun or anything like that. Okay, now that those weird points are out of the way, it's time to move on to what I would consider some of the good points that might be specific to dating a girl who works at a Hostess Bar. Or at least I haven't dated any other girls who have had these traits. And that being that she would often bring me food and constantly try to pay for stuff. Which I guess I just kind of combined those 2 points into 1 point, but anyway. So the constantly trying to bring me food, or constantly bringing me food, was really nice because she would always offer to buy stuff on the way when she was coming, when we were going to hang out, for one. And then second, she would also sometimes get food from customers or clients, and if she got too much, she would, of course, offer to bring it to me. So I got to eat some really good food. And with the point of her always offering to pay for stuff, that was just nice because obviously I pay for my fair share of stuff, but it just kind of, it's a nice way to show you care when you offer to pay for something. Okay, the final thing I want to talk about this video is kind of some general advice / warning signs if you meet a girl and she happens to work at a Hostess Bar. So the first red flag, and this is kind of a red flag in any relationship really, is if she never offers to pay for stuff. And the reason this is a red flag, especially with a girl who works at a Hostess Bar, is because in the kind of client / hostess dynamic, the client is the one who basically pays for everything. So that could be a sign that she primarily sees you as a client and a possible source of income. And the second red flag is she is constantly inviting you to her bar. Because once again, this is just a sign that she only sees you as a client and might not really have any intention of developing a deeper relationship with you. Okay, my first piece of general advice, kind of moving away from red flags, and it might seem kind of counterproductive, I guess, but don't try to meet a hostess at her Hostess Bar while she is working. And there's a couple good reasons why I say this. The first is, if you meet her while she's working, then she's kind of obviously in that mindset. It is more likely to see you just as a client, and as a result, every time she sees you, will just see money. Or her next paycheck, to be more precise. The second reason being that while she's working, she kind of has to maintain a certain atmosphere. She has to make sure the people who come to the bar or the guys that come to the bar are having fun. So it's hard to actually get to know a person, have like a legitimate conversation with them, or a legitimate conversation with the hostess while she was working. In my opinion, if you have a different experience, if you've been to Japan and have ever dated a hostess, let me know down in the comments below what kind of experiences you may have had. And my other piece of general advice is that you have to be patient. Probably more patient than you would be in a normal relationship, so to speak. Anyway, for all the weird points I mentioned before, dating a girl who works at a hostess bar comes with its own set of unique challenges. It's not impossible, just has different challenges than other situations you might find yourself in. Alright, that'll do it for the video today. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to Just in Japan. With that said, I'll see you next time. Mata ne.